My name is Bill Applenalp. I'm one of the guys here at PS Audio, and today we're going to walk through the disassembly of the Perfect Wave DAC and the installation of the DirectStream DAC upgrade, which you just received hopefully in the mail. And just to show you what you will get in the package. Instructions. Now look, read the instructions first. Read them all. It's going to do you good. Step-by-step instructions for everything we're going to cover here today. Inside we've got the new DSD analog board. We have the new DSD digital board. We have the new DSD power supply board. Bunch of hardware, tools, and a cloth for cleaning and polishing, and your remote with batteries. So that's what you have here. And the first thing we got to do is disassemble our DAC. Taking the top off is an interesting challenge, but if we open up our bag of screws, nuts, bolts, and sundry hardware, we will find in there long screws like this. This is called all thread. And what we're going to do, we have 4 of these, and we're just going to set them aside here for a moment. Flip the unit over. Now, we have a pad here on our table. I strongly suggest you get a protective, either a pad or a towel or something like that, because this next step is going to scratch furniture. Go into our toolkit, and we will take out our screwdriver and remove the outer Phillips head screws so that they just pop right out. And while we're at it, in this phase of the operation, we're going to remove one of these black pads you see on the bottom. It's the one that's directly beneath the transformer of the Mark II. So just kind of pick and peel, and very aggressive adhesive on these things. And it'll leave a nasty, ugly, adhesive looking stain on it. It's okay, you're going to cover that up again. And we'll discard this. Now we take our all thread, and in each one of these holes, we just get it started and turn it 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you do that on each one of these so that they're all a uniform distance, and will sit flat on the table. Then we're going to turn it over, and you can see these ends would do a number on your mahogany table. So please make sure that you use a protective shield of some kind. And now, it's a pretty simple process. You just push down. Voila. Now your top is loose, and you can pull it out. And please be careful, because in this top cover, you've got what we call EMI fingers. And the purpose of these things is to prevent EMI radiation from coming out and opening your neighbor's garage door every time you use your remote. So we'll set this aside. So we'll begin the disassembly by doing the very first thing, and that is taking out of the bag this little anti-static strap. And this is essential because the parts that we're going to be touching and handling today are very static sensitive. So we want to be sure that we've protected them. All right, custom fit. So we will now put this, I'll turn this so that we can see it. We're going to put this clip on the ground, which is the center tab of your AC inlet, okay? And the first thing we're going to touch is going to be the digital input board. Now, on the Mark II, we had 2 different types of boards. One had these, what we call UMC connectors, and the other had a more conventional dual pin receiver, like a receptacle like these here. So we're going to remove that now, and they just pop right out. And we will wiggle out the ribbon connectors. This is ribbon cable, by the way. And we're going to set them aside. Now, we also are going to remove all the screws and nuts on the back. So I've already removed almost all of them except for this one. And we're removing them on both the analog and the digital boards, but we'll remove the boards separately. all my extra hardware I'm going to stick over here in this little cup. Now, having done that, I'll let you guys keep looking at the back side. We'll take out the screws on the top of the digital board. And you're going to notice that the digital board sits on top of what we call standoffs. Now there's also, give you another view, copper tape, which is attached to the USB connector and here for it to improve the grounding. Up we go. Here's another little gadget in the hardware bag that I would strongly encourage you to use. It's a protective washer, and the way this works, you just drop it right there on your unit so that when you come in with your special custom PS Audio members only wrench set, it'll protect your beautiful finish and silkscreen. So that just pops right off. None of these are supposed to be on too tight. So we'll wiggle this off, back down, and out she comes. Just as simple as that. Anyway, so that part's done now. Next thing we're going to do is actually, I thought it was easier when I did it the first time to take the transformer out as the next step. And the reason why is because there's all this wire and stuff which get in the way when you're taking out the other circuit boards. So you unplug this. These are mate and lock connectors. You squeeze them like this and they just pop right off. Very sturdy standard connector. And then we have this one over here. We'll take it off. So we'll take our 1/2" wrench, give it a twister 3, and remove the hardware from the transformer. Now the transformer will lift out just like that, and then you just kind of feed it out and you're done. Remove this rubber washer, and then we'll take out, and this is hard because there's still all that goo on the other side. There's a lot of times when I would like to have glue like this. Never fails. And there she goes. Okay. And again, you have nuts on the back for these RCA jacks. And I believe that's going to be a smaller one. Yep. And they should spin right off. Okay, so now we've removed all the screws from the back panel that we're going to need to, including the power supply board, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So, one tool we didn't give you is a pair of pliers. Pliers are good, and hopefully you have some in your kitchen toolbox. And I'm going to use them to take out these standoffs. And the reason I'm using these is because we don't have a 1/4" wrench in here, and I really prefer that you didn't use one. Why? These are aluminum. If one should break off, which they can do easily enough, they're sturdy when used as directed, but you can break them, and we don't want that to happen. So we keep it right around finger tight on these guys. 2 more screws, this one and its brother on the other side. And out she comes. This is your analog board. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is remove the power supply board. There is on the back only one screw. It's this guy right here. And that's a grounding screw that we use. Keep everybody safe. Now the first thing we're going to do is remove the AC wiring and a ground connector. And here you see they're black and white. Some units have blue and brown. In any case, there's no way you can take this wire and put it on that terminal. It won't fit. So this is called TB1. It's written on the circuit board. This is called TB2. And you can use that as a reference if you like. And then this is the ground we're going to remove. So these things can be awfully tough to get off sometimes. Here's another place for your pliers. And just gently wiggle them, applying pressure. Whatever you do though, don't pull on the wire. These are good connections, but you can pull the wire out if you're determined. And people that get frustrated get determined. Okay, and then this one, so that's 3 wires. And all we have to do now is remove this ribbon cable. Gently wiggle it. And I'm going to take it all the way out from, it plugs into the display board. We're going to take it all the way out just so that everything is clean. There are 6 screws. There is the power supply board, and it'll pop right out. And there you are. At this point, we're ready to begin the reassembly process. First thing we're going to do is, oh, hello. First thing we're going to do is put this boy up on the edge, like this. The first step in the reconstruction of this project is to get some additional hardware that we're going to use on the reassembly process. Oops. There we go. And we're going to add 2 screws and 2 spacers. And this is because the circuit board for the analog circuit board for the DSD is quite a bit larger than the old Mark II. So what you do is you just stick the screw in these holes. These are the 2 holes that are farthest away from the front panel. And they're countersunk holes, so the screw will fit flush in it. And then holding the screw with your finger, just kind of spin it on. And then you can cinch it up gently. You don't have to go hard. And that part's done. Now, if you want, we can tackle this ugly beast. This is the, I mean, who wants that in their living room? Not me. Peel away the backing. This isn't a very aggressive adhesive, so be careful where you place it because it's going to stay there. And we're just going to put it over the ugly stuff. There we are. And it's probably going to outlast you and I. So now you can see the new standoffs that we put in. And we're ready to begin putting circuit boards back in. Let me hook up again because I disconnected. These will be in static-proof packaging to protect them while they're in shipping and so on. And here it is. It's a little different if you look at it from the old board. You can see, for one thing, the transformer is much larger. The fuses inside that these are going to come with are gold. And these are custom fuses for us. You want to make sure you've got them in here. And you also have some, probably, very likely, in your Mark II, and I suggest you take them out and hang on to them. Okay, first things first, we just orient the board onto the standoffs and line it up with the back panel. Try to make the screw holes fit over the standoff holes. Okay, so the next step we're going to do, I'm going to spin it around, put in this ground hole, and that's going to fit in just like this. This is called a SEM screw. It has a washer built onto it, so you don't have to worry about losing washers. My wife tells me when I cook that I make a terrible mess, and as you can see, she's got a point. So now we're going to get the screws to hold this down. We'll do that before we reconnect the wiring. And this will help align. They just screw right in. And you'll notice that the wires in this binding post are in the same orientation as the ones in the old board. It's important. All right, it's secured. And now we're going to start hooking things back up. So first of all, we have the ground. And we're just going to take this ground and just stick it on any one of these pins and just press it down. It'll snap into place as you'll feel it. That's the ground. This is called the line. Business end of the electricity pops right on. And the neutral, which is the white wire. It's kind of the same as in your house. Okay, now that we have the power supply board securely installed, we're going to do the analog board. And again, it's in static packaging. Even though you're wearing a protective wristband, it's a good idea to try to handle the boards by the edges and not get your fingers all over the traces. What we're going to do is line it up, but first we have to remove the hardware off the RCA jacks. You may receive your kit with the hardware already installed on the jacks as it is here, or it will be in the hardware package. So it could come either way. It just depends on what you get. So this lines up pretty easily, and the holes line up here, so it's all good. You can put that hardware right back on. We're going to pop it back up on in now that we've got it secured. And you'll notice that this is a bigger wrench. These particular parts come with either size screw, and then while it's in a nice easy position, we'll go ahead and put in the screws. We're going to need metric screws. These are German RCA connectors, and we use metric screws to install them. This may look like a lot of screwing, and it may be that you have an electric screwdriver in your house. Please don't use it. We don't want to strip any threads. Biggest problem with these sorts of things is people over tightening stuff thinking they're doing the right thing, but it's rarely necessary. Okay, so that's it with the back on the analog board. We'll put in the screws to hold it in place inside the chassis. Is a larger screw. It's called a 632. And we use this in only 2 places. But it's a good one to start out with because it keeps things centered. Now we're going to use a number 4 screw for the back because that's what these standoffs are. And now it's time to come back to our aluminum standoffs. And once again, we do not want to over tighten. Finger tight is good. We'll give them a tiny little tweak at the end, but they just pop right in and finger tight. There you go. So now our analog board is installed. DirectStream digital board. And you probably are starting to feel like old hands at this by now. Remove the hardware from the nut, or the nut from the from the RCA jack. This is a beautiful jack. And it's going to sit right on top of the aluminum standoff. You got to tip it a bit because it has this button here for the RCA. So tip it a bit and just angle it in. Okay, so we're going to leave this here for a second. Make sure everybody is aligned properly. Put that bad boy in there. Going to pop it up on its front again. Nice thing about no knobs and stuff on the front. And we'll just snug it again, not too tight. That's good. Okay. These are 440 screws we're going to use to hold the HDMI connectors in. I squared STU. And then we're going to find sheet metal screw, which is also used in plastic. We'll use this to hold the optical connector in. Some of these boards will come without requirement for this. They just stand on the board, supported by additional legs. In that case, we've included a nut and a screw that you can put in the empty hole. Okay, so this is it for the back panel. Towards the end we'll install our label, but other than that, we're finished there. We'll pop in 3 more screws into our digital board, and we're almost done, at least with this segment. Now the final step in this rebuilding process is going to be to reinstall the cables. So we'll start here with the, this is the cable I took out from the power supply board, and this is the cable I took out from the front of the power supply board. And they're identical, so you don't need to worry about mixing them up. We're going to pop this in here, just locate it right over the pins. It's self-locating and it's keyed, so you can't plug it in backwards. Just plug it in. See the key? And it just fits right in. Easy to install, very reliable connections. And once again, we're going to come over here. And here. Now we have to use the new cables that come in your kit. You get 2 of them. One is a power supply cable, and it's the mate and lock connectors. These are keyed. You can't plug them in backwards. There's only one way they'll go in. So we're going to plug this one in here, satisfying click, and this one's going to go over here. Again, nice click, and it only goes in one way. And then finally we have our digital cable, and this is going to connect our friends on the digital cable. I must be doing something. There it is. Okay. The digital cable to the analog board. And again, these are shrouded, what they call shrouded headers, which means you can't get off a pin to the left or right. It's going to make it go in the right way every time. Okay, friends, this is it as far as the rebuilding of the electronics. We still need to put the top on, but we're almost there. So before we put the top cover back on, we want to make sure that these little EMI preventers, our little shields, are in place. They try to come off when you remove it. They're a very snug fit. And a word to the wise, these things are sharp. Be careful. All you have to do is locate them over the edge of the steel and press down. And once you're convinced that everything else is right, we're going to put it on. In the back, this also is EMI shielding, and this is for a large segment, so we went with a different product than the little Sharpies. And it tends to bulge out a bit, so what we're going to do is just kind of locate that one and then let it kind of settle in. And push it back, and then just gently push down all the way around. And so now it's installed again. You can see my fingerprints are all over it. That's why you're going to need that polishing cloth. But first we'll turn it over. Make sure there's no scratchy stuff there. And reinstall the screws that we used for the top cover, and that's these 4 guys. Flathead screws, 3/8 of an inch long. Voila. Well, friends, you've now created a brand new product. I'm going to be proud of having done this. It's kind of a chore, but well worth it. Now, the last thing you got to do, 2 things really. Install the new firmware and install your label. Let me orient it so we can see. I like to locate it over these screws, use them as a guide so it goes on nice and straight. Okay, so we're just going to get in there and put them down on it. Okay, as long as I didn't get it upside down, what do you think? Okay, last step, we've got our label on. We're going to turn it around so you can see what's going on here. The first thing we do is put in our firmware SD card. And it goes in like this, pin side up. And you push it in till it clicks. Audible click. Okay? Next thing we do, plug it in, but we're going to leave it off. And I'll turn it around now so you can see the screen. And the moment of truth, you'll notice the logo light is blinking, and that means it's updating. It's going to continue doing that for up to 2 minutes. Don't disturb it, don't turn it off, don't play with the cords, just don't touch it. Really appreciate your patience in watching this, and I hope you have a successful venture and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Thanks for buying PS.